In the fall of 1857, a chilling event unfolded in Little Rock, Arkansas, so shocking that local authorities suppressed it for over a century. On Thanksgiving night, in what was once the grandest plantation house in Pulaski County, a slave named Samson reportedly killed his master, Colonel Jeremiah Rutledge, with his bare hands, snapping his neck like a brittle stick. But this wasn't just another tale of rebellion. Witnesses claimed Samson's strength, that Knight was beyond human, strong enough to crush a skull with one hand, twist iron tools into knots, and leave handprints embedded in oak beams, marks that remain visible today. Official records were sealed, witnesses silenced, and the incident erased from local newspapers. What really happened at Rutledge Plantation that Thanksgiving? Why did 3 county officials spend their lives insisting what they saw defied natural explanation? If you're intrigued by these hidden chapters of American history, let us know in the comments where you're reading from. This story might hit closer to home than you think. The story begins 20 miles south of Little Rock, where the Arkansas River wound through fertile cotton country. By 1857, Rutledge Plantation spanned over 3,000 acres, worked by nearly 200 enslaved people living in the shadow of Colonel Jeremiah Rutledge's imposing Greek Revival mansion. Rutledge, a Massachusetts-born lawyer who moved south in his 20s for cotton wealth, was a man of contradictions. Unlike many plantation owners born into the system, he chose it, ruling with a calculated cruelty that shocked even his neighbors. He kept detailed records of punishments, tracked breeding charts for enslaved people, and was known in Pulaski County for his scientific approach to managing them. The enslaved community lived in 2 areas, field hands in rough cabins near the river, and house servants in slightly better quarters near the mansion. It was a world of whispered conversations, hidden knowledge, and survival strategies passed down through generations. Older enslaved people spoke of kinder times under Rutledge's predecessor, who sold out when the colonel arrived with northern money and southern ambitions. Among them, Samson stood out, not just for his 6'4" height, towering for the era, but for his mysterious past. Rutledge bought him 3 years earlier from a failing Louisiana plantation, with a bill of sale noting strong constitution, unusual physical capabilities, possible medical anomaly. Buyer assumes all risks. The seller, a Frenchman named Boudreau, was eager to part with Samson despite his value as a worker. Samson never spoke of his past, but others noticed his extraordinary traits. He could labor 16 hours in the fields without tiring, lift cotton bales meant for 2 men, and had calluses so thick they seemed like horn. The plantation blacksmith, Jupiter, swore Samson could bend horseshoes barehanded, though he hid this from overseers. Beyond his strength, Samson's eyes betrayed a sharp intelligence and a hidden literacy. Some claimed he scratched strange symbols, not English letters, but something like equations, in the dirt at night. Colonel Rutledge took a keen interest in Samson, not out of kindness but for profit and curiosity. A self-styled scholar, he subscribed to phrenology journals and studied human variations. He began strength assessments on Samson in the plantation's carriage house, timing his work, measuring output, and recording results in locked journals. Samson lifted heavy object, sandals, logs, even machinery, while Rutledge took notes. The colonel was fascinated by Samson's tireless endurance, pushing him beyond normal limits. By fall 1857, these tests grew darker. Rutledge invited wealthy planters to witness demonstrations of Samson's feat, lifting contests, bending iron bars, breaking thick planks. As Thanksgiving neared, Samson's behavior shifted. He grew tense, his eyes distant, as if planning something. Jupiter later said Samson asked odd questions about the plantation's layout, Rutledge's habits, and which house servants accessed certain rooms. Rutledge planned a grand Thanksgiving celebration, inviting over 40 guests from Memphis and New Orleans, including some eager to see his remarkable specimen. The feast featured delicacies from Baltimore, but the highlight was a post dinner demonstration to cement Rutledge's reputation as a forward-thinking planter. Unbeknownst to him, Samson had overheard plans through house servants, who also glimpsed Rutledge's journals, left open in his study. The entries mentioned terminal experiments, ultimate strength limitations, and acceptable losses for science. On November 26, 1857, Thanksgiving dawned crisp over the Arkansas bottomlands. The mansion buzzed as house servants, led by cook Molly Kittinger, prepared a feast for 50. Samson set up seating on the veranda and filled oil lamps, but his movements seemed calculated, as if conserving energy. Rutledge, in his study, reviewed notes for the grand demonstration. His journal's final entry reading, "Today, I shall push the specimen beyond all previous thresholds. Science demands complete understanding. Guests arrived by noon. Prominent figures like Judge Cornelius Dillingham, Planter Samuel Vaughn, Dr. Nathaniel Payton from Memphis, and Professor Emmanuel Voss, a German physical anthropologist from St. Louis." As they sipped drinks on the veranda, Samson worked with precision, his mind elsewhere. Jupiter tried speaking to him at 3 p.m., but Samson's distant gaze unnerved him. The dinner proceeded smoothly, with talk of cotton prices and politics. Afterward, Rutledge led guests to the carriage house, lit by torches, where weights, iron bars, and railroad iron awaited. Samson stood ready, his posture hinting at coiled energy. Dr. Payton later wrote that Samson resembled a spring ready to snap. Rutledge began with familiar tests. Samson lifted impossible weights, bent iron, split beams, amazing the crowd. Voss took notes, muttering in German. But Rutledge's demands escalated, pushing Samson to lift heavier objects, including a 400-pound cotton gin flywheel. Around 10:30, Judge Dillingham noticed a shift in Samson's expression as Rutledge ordered him to lift the flywheel. "Perhaps we've seen enough," Dillingham suggested. Rutledge dismissed him, insisting on pushing interesting thresholds. Samson stared at the flywheel, then at Rutledge, and said quietly, "No, sir." The refusal stunned the crowd. A slave defying a master was unthinkable. Rutledge's face darkened with fury. "What did you say?" he demanded. "No, sir," Samson repeated, his voice steady but charged with something ominous. "You'll do as I command." Rutledge snapped, threatening harsh consequences. Samson smiled, a terrifying expression, witnesses later said, and repeated, "No, sir, I don't believe I will." In a blur, he crossed the room in 3 strides. Rutledge raised his hands, but a sharp crack, like a branch snapping, echoed as Samson broke his neck with ease. Silence followed. Samson stood over the body, hands poised as if holding something fragile. Then, addressing the horrified guests in perfect diction, he said, "Gentlemen, I suggest you leave now." Panic erupted as guests fled, trampling each other to reach their carriages. Within minutes, the plantation was empty except for the enslaved Rutledge's body and Samson. By dawn, the carriage house was deserted, torches burned out, Rutledge's body gone, and Samson vanished, leaving only handprints in the beams. Sheriff Thomas Breese arrived at dawn with deputies and militia, expecting a crime scene or revolt. Instead, they found a plantation frozen in time. House servants reported hearing voices but hadn't investigated, knowing better than to interfere. They described Samson vaguely, as if unsure who he was. Jupiter, under pressure, admitted Samson's unnatural strength and strange habits, like scratching unknown symbols or speaking in a commanding tone, as if used to giving orders. The carriage house showed bent iron and broken beams, but no blood or footprints, despite soft ground. Rutledge's body was missing. Search parties scoured the area, dragging ponds and checking creeks, but found nothing. Governor Elias Conway offered a $500 reward, drawing bounty hunters, but Samson remained elusive. Wanted posters described a generic large Negro male, 6'4", unusually strong, extremely dangerous. Weeks later, Bounty hunters reported eerie encounters. An impossibly tall figure in the woods, uprooted trees, bent iron. Rumors spread of slaves whispering about a strong man who would set things right. By Christmas, the investigation faltered, embarrassed by its failure and northern newspapers' sensational Arkansas Superman stories. Governor Conway sealed records, withdrew the reward, and silenced newspapers. In early 1858, Rutledge's estate revealed hidden documents in his desk. Correspondence with northern universities about human experimentation, receipts for chemicals from Boston and New York, and a contract with Meridian Research Associates for physiological assessment and enhancement protocols, signed by Rutledge and one possibly Samson, in handwriting slaved, recognized. These suggested Rutledge's experiments went beyond curiosity, possibly involving northern scientists in enhancing human capabilities. The documents were sealed, slaves who recognized the handwriting sold off, and Meridian references erased. Rumors persisted among enslaved communities of a strong man breaking chains, hinting at other plantations with similar experiments. By spring 1858, the Pinkerton Detective Agency, hired by unknown parties, investigated Samson's origins. Detective James Hawthorne traced the bill of sale to Boudreaux's Louisiana plantation, uncovering Southern Health Initiative, a program ostensibly studying diseases but actually testing enhancements. Boudreaux admitted Samson underwent a 2-year enhancement protocol, showing extraordinary strength and intelligence but becoming hard to control. The program, funded by northern investors, was shut down in 1854 after a revolt, with Samson sold off. Pinkerton operative Sarah Chen infiltrated a Boston facility run by Dr. Marcus Kleinman, a key figure in human optimization research. She found records of 200 subjects with strength increases up to 300%. Kleinman's letters to Rutledge planned the Thanksgiving demonstration to test Samson's limits, hinting at military applications. Jupiter revealed Samson had planned his escape, aided by an underground network, the Freedom Chain, helping enhanced subjects reach Canada or Mexico. Evidence suggested foreign agents, British and French, had infiltrated the network, seeking enhancement technology. The Pinkerton investigation ended in June 1858, its findings classified. Sightings of a tall, strong figure continued, alongside tales of a benefactor aiding escaped slaves. At Rutledge Plantation's ruins, visitors reported handprints growing clearer, compressed ground, and sounds of movement in the carriage house. By fall 1858, incidents escalated. In Camden, Arkansas, 3 enhanced slaves, Caesar, Goliath, Titan, broke iron shackles, destroyed restraints, and escaped with maps and supplies, moving with uncanny coordination. Similar escapes followed in Mississippi and Louisiana, targeting enhancement records with precision. Kleinman, consulting with authorities, warned that enhanced subjects showed strategic thinking and possibly shared consciousness, posing a catastrophic threat. Bounty hunter Thomas Bogard encountered a 7-foot figure, likely Samson, who spoke eloquently of ending exploitation, then vanished without tracks. By December, President Buchanan received briefings on the Samson crisis. A Tennessee research facility was attacked by enhanced subjects, led by someone matching Samson's description, who freed captives and left a message. The chains are broken. The strong shall no longer serve the weak. A new age begins. In spring 1859, Congressman Joshua Giddings received documents exposing a decade-long enhancement program with 300 subjects, Samson marked as the resistance leader. Congressional hearings revealed Kleinman's experiments, originally meant to ease slave labor, had created superhuman capabilities and intelligence. General Winfield Scott admitted military funding since 1852, but enhanced soldiers resisted discipline, some deserting or mutinying. On April 25, Samson's statement to Congress, signed by 50 enhanced subjects, demanded the end of enhancement programs. Freedom for subjects and equal rights, threatening action if unmet. Southerners called for a manhunt, Northerners saw justice in the demands. On May 15, Samson walked openly in Washington, D.C., requesting a meeting with the Congressional Committee. Denied, he left a message carved in capitals, marble steps. The experiment is over. The specimens have become the scientists. Secret negotiations, the Washington Compact, began in June 1859. Samson demanded ending enhancement research, destroying records, and providing new identities or a separate Alaskan territory for subjects. Kleinman aided by developing treatments to reduce enhancements for integration. Most subjects chose integration, receiving identities and support. Others settled in Alaska. Samson chose separation, ensuring others had options. His final message emphasized dignity and autonomy. The public resolution was quiet, a vague congressional report. Kleinman's transfer and scattered integration of subjects. Alaskan communities became innovative hubs, and some integrated subjects aided the Underground Railroad. The compact set ethical guidelines for research, influencing modern informed consent. The Civil War overshadowed the crisis, but Samson's legend endured among researchers, advocates, and Alaskan natives. The handprints in Rutledge Plantation's ruins remained, a testament to Samson's defiance. This story reveals humanity's cruelty and resilience, showing that dignity and freedom can overcome oppression. What do you think? There's still secrets buried in government archives. Share your thoughts, and let us know if you want more hidden histories.